Every man has a dark side, whether he accepts it or not. And in fact, the more you shy away from what Carl Jung would describe as your shadow self, it doesn't make you a better person. You just don't understand different sides to yourself, and you're less in control of your actions. So in today's video, we're going to explore the dark triad. This is a group of 3 personality traits known for their dark or perhaps evil connotations. The traits are narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. It's crucial to understand that everybody has these traits to an extent. Taken to their extremes, they can become a personality disorder or a mental illness. But most of us would benefit from being able to tap into these traits at our will, because believe it or not, they do actually have positive qualities. And they have positive uses that can even be activated to do good in the world. And I promise you that learning and understanding these traits and how to channel them in an effective way is going to have a positive impact on your life. Hello, my name is James, and I'm on a mission to create a generation of gentlemen. Let's begin by understanding the dark triad. So the triad is made up of 3 personality traits. First, we have narcissism. This is typically described as a love of oneself. People who are narcissistic typically have a grandiose idea about who they are and a tendency to look down on others. Next up, we have Machiavellianism, named after the medieval author Niccolo Machiavelli, who wrote The Prince. A Machiavellian person is somebody who prioritizes strategy. They are prepared to manipulate people in order to obtain power. They care more about the accomplishment of their goals than whether or not the means they used were good or bad. And thirdly, we have psychopathy, which is perhaps the most extreme of the 3 traits. A psychopath is extremely emotionally detached. They are able to take very bold risks without experiencing any anxiety. And for that reason, psychopaths are typically found at the upper echelons of society, top CEOs and lawyers, or at the bottom echelons of society, often in prison. All 3 of these traits, narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, are typically demonized and seen as very negative, both in the media's portrayal of characters with these traits, but also in the way that we speak every day. How often have you heard somebody say, "Oh, he's such a narcissist"? And I always think, how hypocritical to believe that you don't have any narcissist traits. Oh, he's a narcissist, but I'm not a narcissist. The truth is, we all have a degree of these characteristics. And as a result, these traits don't necessarily define you as bad. They are tools which can be used in life, and if you have control and understanding of them, you'll be able to use them for a better cause. Many historical figures have used dark triad traits to accomplish greatness. Even Winston Churchill was incredibly Machiavellian in his rise to power as Prime Minister, and then with his success in winning World War II. Narcissists are often great creators. We see that with many artists and even entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs. It's their deep belief in their own vision that allows them to go through challenges and continue to create something that they truly love and the rest of the world will love too. And many great leaders, both in war and peacetime, need to demonstrate traits of psychopathy. Even somebody like Teddy Roosevelt. Think about it. Your president shouldn't be too emotionally attached to his decisions. He should be able to make a bold risk that's in the country's interest. And we've also seen classic movie characters, whether it's Michael Corleone in The Godfather, whether it's Rick Blaine in Casablanca, or Charles Foster Kane in Citizen Kane. They all demonstrate some dark triad traits, and we see how that helps them become a hero, even if it's in a rather anti-hero way. So if you use these dark triad traits in a constructive way, they can be a very powerful tool on your journey to greatness. And now let's talk a little bit more about how exactly you can use the traits of narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Let's begin with narcissism. One advantage that many narcissists have over the general population is that they have a very strong sense of self-worth. They don't seek validation from others in the same way that ordinary people do. Now, whether you're building a brand, a business, or an artistic work, having an unwavering love for what you create helps you keep going even when things get difficult. It also helps you take pride in your accomplishments and enjoy the limelight that comes with fame and success. But this doesn't need to cross into arrogance. For example, you can be the guy in the room, in the bar, etc., who stands there confidently because he doesn't need validation from other people to make him feel comfortable. And it's this calm, confident aura that makes him and other narcissistic people so attractive. Having a touch of psychopathy can be incredibly useful in taking risks and controlling your emotions. That's why around 8% of Navy SEALs are actual psychopaths. If you're in a high-stakes negotiation situation, a situation that would cause many people unbearable levels of anxiety, the psychopath has the advantage. He is able to do his job to the best of his abilities because he doesn't feel the ordinary levels of pressure and stress that most people would. And in both business and personal relationships, this emotional detachment can be incredibly useful. For example, if you're a businessman and you hire on people that are terrible at their job, but you just don't have the heart to fire them, your company can't grow. And in personal relationships, you will find yourself very unhappy if you're unable to walk away or disappoint a partner. There's a great book I would recommend by Kevin Dutton called The Wisdom of Psychopaths. And in this book, he interviews one of the UK's top surgeons who, it turns out, is a psychopath. And I believe this passage explains why this can be useful for certain people. He said, "I have no compassion for those whom I operate on. That is a luxury I simply cannot afford. In the theatre, I am reborn as a cold, heartless machine, totally at one with scalpel, drill, and saw. When you're cutting loose and cheating death high above the snow line of the brain, feelings aren't fit for purpose. Emotion is entropy, and seriously bad for business." And imagine if you found yourself in trouble, you were taken hostage, and the police were outside. You would want them to have the fearlessness, the almost psychopathic levels of courage to come in and save you. And thirdly, we have to talk about how Machiavellianism can be useful to enhance your strategic thinking. And we all know how important strategy is in life, but we also have this naive tendency to believe that everybody's intentions are clear. Everybody's playing life by the same fair set of rules. The more you embrace Machiavellianism, the more you realize that this simply isn't true. You have to learn how to read people and read situations to get the best outcome for yourself. A Machiavellian man can also detach from short-term emotions like pleasure and pain and think more about the long term. And this doesn't have to involve manipulating people. It can also relate simply to the choices that you make. For example, it can be about networking strategically to align yourself with high-value people whom you aspire to be like. Remember that we all exist on a spectrum of these traits. And if you slip into either end of the extremes, you'll end up with a lot of problems. We have to counterbalance our narcissism, our Machiavellianism, and our psychopathy with a healthy dose of empathy. By becoming more aware of your darkness, your shadow self, you can learn how to turn it on when it's useful and turn it off when it isn't. For example, your narcissism might attract a woman in the early stages. She's drawn to your sense of personal security, the way you take pride in yourself. But if you maintain high levels of narcissism, it will be very difficult to form a genuine emotional attachment and have a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Great stories are full of examples of men who've allowed their dark traits to take over, and they've eventually become their downfall, whether it's Citizen Kane ending up lonely and isolated, or Scarface getting shot and killed. So I encourage you to reflect on your dark side and think about how you could use these traits in a more positive way. Rather than channeling your inner psychopath into an unhealthy or antisocial behavior, use it to achieve great physical accomplishments like a long-distance run, because you have the edge to endure that pain that most people can't endure. If you're a particularly Machiavellian person, using these strategies on your girlfriend or wife might be quite unhealthy and manipulative. However, this awareness will help you navigate and understand the tricky world of office politics. So I would love it if you would go to the comments and share one example of a time that you used one of your dark triad traits in a positive way. Because remember, just because you have these characteristics, it doesn't mean you are a dark person. In fact, by examining our shadow side, we shed some light on it and make it a positive thing. Gentlemen, thank you very much for watching.